today. It doesn't give Dr. Tierney much time to make a plan. Would you please consider holding a press conference, calling a press conference and making this publicly known, your disappointment and your frustration?
Actually, I contemplated doing a press conference, but I'll talk to the council.
Well, I can appreciate your press releases. I think, in my opinion, it'd be more of a statement if you held a press conference. It would,
Only if the news media comes to us.
I don't know, we seem to get them to come to us, but, okay. Question number 2 is the Fenimore user group, Chris. When the DEP sends out an alert to the Fenimore user group, are you copied on it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get access to see which residents it was sent to or no?
My staff can.
Your staff knows?
My staff can look at who it was sent to, yes.
Okay, so can someone then email, who would they email to see if they're on that list or not?
Well, that's if they want to know who they're on the list, they actually should email to myself and or Ms. Robin Lance as well too. Secondly is that's exactly what I'm going to have my staff do tomorrow, is checking the email list and see who it went out to.
Okay. Third question, this is for each council member, one by one. Why do you think our children's health, their physical and social emotional well-being is not important enough to alert their parents of the shutdown of the scrubbers?
No,
Martin?
we're not going to go through one by one amongst the council members. You've asked your question and they can respond to you either on or offline, that's up to them. But
Okay, Jim, then why do you think our children's health, they are helpless in this situation, their parents are the ones that protect them? Why do you think that it's not important enough to make a blast phone call to all the residents in Roxbury Township to alert the parents so they can pick and choose whether they want to take their kids to another area? Maybe they have a relative, like my parents live in Denville. Maybe my sister would take my nephews to Denville. I don't know, but why aren't you alerting all the residents?
we care about all the residents, including the children in this township.
Then why aren't you making a blast phone call? I didn't ask you if you cared about them. I want to know why you're not making a blast phone call then.
Do you have any other questions, Melissa? We've been down this road 100 times.
That's where Dr. T.
Okay, so if something, and that's my question.
We're monitoring the situation and we'll expand notification where needed, if needed. So, to blast something out that we have no history that is necessary.
Chris made a decision that it was important enough to call Dr. Tierney, and not all the schools are typically impacted by the landfill that we know of. So if he made a decision to call Dr. Tierney, who's the superintendent of all the schools, it just doesn't make sense why the town wouldn't notify all the residents then.
Anything else? Actually, you've done
Yep.
enough. Thank you, Melissa.
No, you just heard from a resident that just moved into Landing 1 year ago. He had no clue what's going on. Will you consider mailing a letter to all residents about the crisis in our town?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay,
Anybody else in the?
it's a joke. A joke.
I'm just going to door to door.
Us
Mr.
against
Nappy?
them. You have made it. Don't worry, the information is going to get out, one way or the other, and you will have no control over it.
Thank you.
Are you finished?
Mr. Nappy?
Yes, I
Please,
am,
please,
sir.
let's respect each
My
other.
name is Ralph Nappy. I'm a Landing resident. 2 questions, please. Mr. Mayor, on the agenda in the reports of council liaison representatives, there was 2 things that come up that I'm interested in. One was the KPM event. Please explain that to me.
Today they had
Grand opening.
they had a ribbon cutting for the
But I
kids.
think Mr. Rath said it's not one company, and not Kendall Power, it's somebody else as well.
A few years ago, Kendall Power Motor split off from KPM. KPM is actually is the name of their firm.
I see.
They are a distributor for a number of lawn, tractor, and contract services.
Okay.
They do sell to Kendall Power Motor,
All right.
but they're no longer the same firm. And they will have about 70 employees in that site. They have been a Roxbury resident for almost 40 to 50 years. It's a 100,000 square foot building. I had the opportunity later in the day to appear before the Morris County Economic Development Committee and actually do a presentation. And I was hoping that we could have actually emailed the pictures to show in Roxbury. It was a great meeting, and to have that on the same day that we were doing that was fantastic. I also have to point out that that firm was really courted by Pennsylvania to to relocate across the river.
Really?
So the fact that we were able to keep it here with, and we didn't give any, New Jersey, you're not allowed to give any tax increment financing. So it all happened to be with their familiarity with this council, staff, and our planning process that they were able to get through there and get sited in such a short period of time. So,
Very good. It's a feather in our cap then.
yeah.
The second thing, Mr. Hall, in your presentation about the landing project, you had mentioned about the parking area, about paving. I have something else in mind about paving. And I assume that when that landing project is going to be completed, there will be paved parking areas, yes?
Well, no, actually, at this time, they're looking at an aggregate surface.
I hope it's not going to be like what we've been putting up with for a number of years down at Horseshoe Lake
No.
by our band shell. I mean,
No, not at all. No.
that thing has been a dirt track for years. I don't know if it'll ever be blacktop.
Because of its proximity to the lake, probably not, because of what
Okay.
they call impervious surface.
Well, if that will be, then just as you enter that area, it's like a roller coaster. And then it finally levels out where it isn't too difficult on the car. So maybe you guys could look into that, please. all right?
We will. We do that annually, twice a year. We repair that, and because of the surface.
Fine.
Mr. Blood's here tonight, and I'll make sure he works.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. Would anybody else in the public wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am.
Just before, Joanne Longo, 7 Pleasant River, just before when the woman was talking about sending a notice out or whatever, I heard under somebody's breath, that's when Dr. Tierney gets involved or should be involved. Somebody.
He was notified.
That's where Dr. Tierney comes into play, somebody said.
You know, Mr. Rath notified Mr. Tierney of the thing going down because some schools fall within, like the Jefferson School falls within that area.
Okay, so I went to a board meeting like a month ago, and Dr. Tierney's stance on the whole thing is that the smell is not coming from the school. He can't do anything about the smell. If it was something that was like a mold issue or something that was emanating from the school, then it would be his job. I heard somebody just say that's where Dr. Tierney comes into play, under their breath, just now. So if it's his job to notify, then how come you, the school board, and the township can't get together on whose job it is to inform the people about their kids?
The schools made it clear to us, and they have their own policy on how they deal with it. They worked out the situation with a policy with the Department of Health, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rouse, but the schools worked out their policy with DOH, correct?
DOH and Mr. Caputo, our health director, was involved, but it was DOH that helped them establish their policy for alerts.
Okay, so,
During that time of the sport, so.
No, Mr. Curtis, one time when I called him, so we wait to hear from the town. When the town alerts us, then, because the alerts went off and it was maybe a month back, the alerts went off and I said, is anything happening? Do you get a call from Amelcott? Do you have hand monitors? Like, I didn't know what the protocol was. All I know is that I was at work and I see that the levels are high. And he said, no, we wait to hear from the town.
It's been a while since we've had alerts, so I'm not going to speak to it directly. Mr. Rouse, maybe you can.
I don't know why, I don't know, I'd have to follow up with
Yeah, why don't
Dr.
you
Tierney on
Make
that.
a note, if you like, on this questionnaire, and Mr. Rouse.
Right, and I'll send it directly to Dr. Tierney.
Oh,
Okay?
you want me to make a note?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just,
Thank you, Mr.
I can, thank you very much.
Anybody else in the public wish to be heard? Please raise your hand. Morocco.
Bill Morocco, Lazarus Drive in Ledgewood. Question for Chris. I've asked for about a month now about this Amelcott report, and our emails kind of went silent, so I'm going to ask you tonight. Hopefully get an answer.
Yeah, it's the same report.
The report is done. I spoke to Mr. to Amelcott today. He's away, and he's going to send the report tomorrow. So it'll be.
There's
I
a
should
Mr.
have-
Emelcott, I'm just curious.
Huh?
There's a Mr. Emelcott?
There's Bruce Groves.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So he's going to have it available tomorrow, so you'll have it tomorrow.
Okay,
And we'll post it on the website.
thank you. I was under the impression that this report was completed a month ago.
No, that's not correct.
Well, the council gave the public, I guess, a preview of the results of that report a month ago. I guess that was,
Well, I think what the council told you is, what I told you is what I had, when I had asked him about his concerns and his comments, I relayed what he told me. And we told him, tonight, the council asked for him to put it in the report, so it can be released.
Okay.
That's what he's done.
fair enough, thank you. Just one last thing, and I guess I'm disappointed too with the DEP and what they're doing now with this, replacing this metal, because I think they knew about it. I think, you know, what Mr. Zelli said was correct. I think I even mentioned the metal being inferior like 6 months ago. I remember we had a conversation about it, saying the same thing. So, you know, why didn't they bother to do this in the winter when they knew the risks would be lower? And I guess where I'm getting at is they just don't seem to care. It seems to be a battle. Us, you. Do we really want these people being our caretaker for the next, I don't know how many years? And where I'm going with it is this report that Zelli put together. And I have a lot of questions to him that still haven't been answered. And at the last meeting, I told him, you know, one-to-one in front of you guys, I said, you know, what we really need to do is show these people that this stuff can be excavated safely. And he responded and said, if it was up to him and he was in charge, he could do it. So if he knows of a way to do it, and we don't want this caretaker, why aren't we continuing with our investigation for excavation? And I'm not saying that's the best solution, but maybe that is the best solution, just to be rid of this caretaker that doesn't seem to care about us. Why don't we continue with our report and see if it's possible, and if it's possible, make it public, and maybe that's what we want to stand behind. Maybe we don't, but without doing the homework, we'll never know.
Okay, that's the first I'm hearing of that, but I'll check into it. Next bill. Would anybody else in the public wish to be heard? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Michael?
Yep.
Yes, I would like to just follow up and have you consider, again, the easy way. Marguerite Gargiulo, Flanders, New Jersey. So the best solution is to truck it out, because as you can see, what the DEP does is they do what they want, and they're running away and leaving everything else undone and with problems, and that's what we'll have for 25 to 30 years. Really, that's really something to consider. What I wanted to say tonight is I'm a little worried about this the evacuation type thing that you know, for the safety of the people, you want to bring them to the respite center? Is that what you said is the plan for?
If there's a need.
Sorry?
If there's a need.
If there's a need. Well, I saw that last year and the year before, and it wasn't even as bad as this, I would say, because we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, for the neglect and just very, very bad handling of everything that DEP does from the beginning. This is really critical, and I think that you were supposed to have some emergency procedures ready before they even started this. I mean, it wasn't only just bring everybody to the building and let them go there. We really don't know what could happen. I mean, we don't know what's happening inside that land. We don't know who's working on the land. They don't know what they're doing. And no monitors have ever worked in all this time. Are we happy with anything? So why would we just say, go ahead, people, you know, go right in there and do it. There has to be some safety. The fire department has to know what to do. There has to be some medical people that can be called immediately. The DEP should be, you know, called. I mean, there really has to be an emergency program set where these people can come in here and do this. So is there?
Marguerite, yes, for all purposes there are. I also need to point out that last year, this time, there was not a scrubber system working either when we were getting elevations. And we were opening the respite center, we would get 2 or 3 people with those elevations at the respite center. So it would be a simple, based on what we have and the knowledge that, from last year, we will operate the respite center in our alert system as we did last year. It's just the scrubber's down for 4 days. The scrubber wasn't in place at all last year this time.
Well, that's, perfect, but I think there's a lot of other things to be considered, because I know I was looking into the DEP last year, and when the project was starting, and I know that there were a lot of things that had to be connected immediately if something went wrong on that landfill. And I just wanted to know, did you guys do anything on that? Did DEP let you know about it? I mean, like, fast action stuff. I mean, I called emergency, and they said, I'll call you back in 2 days.
Well,
And even Carrie said she's going to change that.
I cannot tell you about the DEP's emergency. I can tell you that these individuals right here in this room today and our OEM director, Bob Hackett, are very well prepared for any kind of emergency.
I'd like to see, because I know I've seen some of the other safety lists that have to be done before these contractors come in and approved. So, I mean, we really should have that out there, so everyone knows what should be done. I mean, it's pretty critical, because these people are not, they don't know what they're doing. So that's one thing. The other thing is the fees for escaped toxic fumes. Now, I guess SEP got $8,000, $100,000 or something was fined for that.
No, I believe it was $58,000.
$800,000 for fines?
58.
58, okay, right.
That was just for local.
Okay.
Local for-
Okay, well, right now, DEP's gonna get away with that. I mean, the reason they have that is to make sure that people are working correctly. So are we going to do anything at all? They're just gonna come in here with high numbers and nothing happened to them?
Well, again,
They have to be responsible like everyone else. People can't be damaged. So what do we do?
we'll have to see what circumstances. You're talking about doing a municipal fine to the DEP?
Yeah, if they can't keep the numbers safe for the people, what else?
Yeah, I don't, let's see what the numbers are, but I don't know if we'd be able to do that. Again, we can look at.
Well, we are questioning.
Right.
So we take responsibility, right?
Was that
We'll look into why they first didn't notify us, and second, why they didn't have contingencies in place. We just found out, so we're still.
So the EPA is supposed to be working with this group, because in the beginning they were not doing the job right, apparently. So the EPA did offer to help them. So at this point, we, as a town, we don't want to close this up for so many days without being prepared. Is there any way that you can connect to the EPA now with telling them you want a safety program, you want to know what's happening?
I don't believe so, but we'll follow up on it with Mr.
All right,
Something.
I don't know what else to say, I'm just,
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard?
Brenda Isherwood, University of Wisconsin. Who decided who's on this alert list for this Fenimore user alert group?
The DEP requested or said they wanted to utilize that group. That group is, I have to find out who that group actually is, because to be told today that somebody else who lives near the area wasn't notified, I need to find out.
Right, I don't want to know the specific people, but like, is it an area or is it something someone can sign up for?
I think you can do both. I think it's area and you can sign up for it.
So
I know
you
a lot of
sign up-
residents have signed up. I
Maybe
believe
with
you
the-
have. So,
I have signed up on the one alert system, but obviously not the DEP's.
well, that's what I need to check in.
Okay, and then, I just think it would be the proper thing to do to alert all the citizens so they can make their choice if they want to take any precautions ahead of time, not after the fact, not after something's happened, not after the alarms go off. And I think by not doing that, you are being negligent.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public wish to be heard? Please raise your hand.
Mark Longo, 7 Blizzard Hill, Susquehanna, 7 Blizzard Hill Road. With the non-alert to the entire town and the lack of people or the lack of communication to the town and only a select few people understanding this or who's here tonight, it seems like not everybody knows about it, and not everybody's gonna have the symptoms. People are breathing it without even knowing they're breathing it. I think people have likened it to carbon monoxide, the silent killer. You're getting it, but you don't know it. With this respite center being opened, 2 or 3 people have shown up, Mr. Rass, I guess the last time.
Yeah, that's correct.
So how would anybody know it's open if they're not really aware of what the possible problem is, what's going on? They might have these symptoms, they might not know what's going on. And people say, no, it's allergies, it's this, it's that. But without everybody
When the numbers
being-
hit, when the numbers hit a certain number, a notice goes out.
We actually send out an alert when the notices, when the parts per billion reach 100 parts per billion, which is over an hour, which is the standard that was established by the Department of Health. It's an ATSDR standard as well too. That's when we open the respite center. We send out an alert to all of our alert groups that the respite center is open.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is without having everybody in the loop in the town and not everybody knowing about it, who's to say that tomorrow after this thing's shut down, or Wednesday, or tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, that all of a sudden we have total anarchy in our hands where kids are dropping left and right from not being able to breathe. They don't know, we don't know, okay, the alert's gonna go out, this is only gonna go out to a certain amount of people, and somebody mentioned before, they alluded to the fact that is there a whistle gonna go off? It's gonna go off is this the Honeywell alert system?
Actually,
If you signed up for it, it goes to everybody.
The schools could use the Honeywell as well too. But I want to go back to what I said earlier, and Mr. Zelli's not here. You have to remember at this time last year, there was no system in place, and so you had free emissions of the gas to its entirety, and we weren't having the levels of kids dropping that you're talking about right now. We were having, I can't tell you, I actually have the graph, actually, wait a minute, I probably can.
I don't need a graph, Mr. Rath, it's okay.
I know, but what I'm telling you is that I think that I think based on the experience we had last year, to hit those levels, there may be a call to open the respite center for a couple of hours. That's what we were getting last year at this time.
But last year, this garbage was under the ground for X amount of months.
No.
Now it's,
No,
it wasn't?
No.
Where was it?
It was on top.
Okay, it was on top.
It was not covered by anything,
Okay.
and you had free emissions.
So what you're saying is that now a year later, there's less stuff coming off it? Because
No,
I know if
I'm
you
not
have some
saying that.
boiling, it continues
It's got some cover
boiling.
on it now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. You said it was undercover, and it was not. It was clearly, it was just on the top. I was just,
But wouldn't one, like, I don't want to assume, because you know the old saying,
Yeah.
if it's a year later, 2 years later, doesn't something eventually get worse before it gets better, even though they're putting the scrubbers into this, into that, and everything? But who's to say nothing can happen tomorrow, the next day with these kids? Where they make a movie about this, where people are falling, I mean, they make these movies, and this can't happen here? Am I totally whacked?
Again, yeah, I don't think, I think obviously you have legitimate issues, but a massive gas release does not, from everything we've had, doesn't seem to be the case that will come off that. But you asked some good questions. The people to ask that question of is not necessarily us, but the DP. I can do that. I can send an email saying our residents are concerned of reaching elevations that will create an immediate health impact to their lives, and get a response.
But this is happening tomorrow.
Do you know what that level is? It's 100 parts per million over an hour. That's what that level is.
It's-
Immediate threat to life and health.
Right. It is very much.
Will they stop? Will they put the scrubber back on?
Please,
If-
I don't believe they can do that, but I can tell you that, I know they can't do that. But again, I can only relate to what transpired last year at this time, when there was no system, when there was no cover, and the weather was similar to what it is right now. You never reached any levels where you had immediate health risk to the residents.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
I'm done?
Yeah, you're done.
Anybody else have public spirit?
Marie Felix, Conklin Road, Flanders, part of Roxbury. Basically, I don't recall ever getting that alert.
Well, you're the second person tonight that say that they should have been in a group. And what I said, maybe you weren't here, is I said we need to look into that right away. Okay?
Okay, so when you had that school open, right, that emergency center, and you basically only had 2 or 3 people, were they the only people that actually got that alert? Because I never, and I live less than half a mile.
I'll have to check on why you would not get that, but I can just tell you that went out to pretty much everybody we can get on our system,
Not only that, people were reacting to the numbers and the smell.
right?
Right.
But again, I don't know why you wouldn't have got it, but we get this from time to time that people are not on the system.
Okay.
So we'll have to check into it.
And you're also going to check into the monitor out there.
Well, did you write that down?
Yes, I did.
Okay, if you can bring it
handed
back to me, that's great.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Anybody else in the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. And we'll move on to executive session. Do we have some
Sure.
executive session on?
2 items, Mr. Mayor, contract negotiations, Amazon developers agreement, and Federal landfill litigation.